Today we're going to be doing some of the internet's weirdest DIYs and decorations for weirdos like you and me. Yes, this is part 2 of making more of the weird internet creations that I think are interesting and perhaps a little cute, and hopefully you feel the same. By the way, if you do want to see more Pinterest and TikTok type crafts, make sure you head on over to Chloe Rose Art's channel. She's already done a part 1 video, and this week she has a part 2 video. Chloe is hilarious. Be sure to subscribe and send her much love from Grains. I'm super excited to see her video today. If you're curious about the other DIYs we did in the previous video, I will link it down below. We did everything from a picky pad all the way to a giant cookie. And I have to say, I have so much fun doing these. So let's check out our first one. Salty Crafter, what are you doing? Oh, you're enjoying bingo. I see. Well, did you know there's actually a better way to play bingo? So then now is the perfect time to tell you about today's sponsor, Bingo Showdown, which is a free-to-play casual game, but also with a twist of competition. And one of the many things I love about Bingo Showdown is that it does take place in a cute Western type scenario, and it has the excitement of competitive play with the coziness of being right at home. And they do have live tournaments 24/7. So if you are a real bingo player enthusiast, this free-to-play game has different kinds of tiers. Can you beat the 99% of people in order to get to Diamond tier? And throughout this game, we are guided by none other than our friend Sadie. So make sure you saddle up and get ready for this crazy rodeo. I found Bingo Showdown, the free-to-play mobile game, absolutely relaxing, but also exciting. The competitiveness of seeing how many people are getting bingo while you're playing kind of puts that little extra edge as you're playing. So what are you waiting for? Check the link in description box as well as the QR code conveniently for you here on screen to download Bingo Showdown and get 3,000 tickets and 10 of each power-up right now. That's the QR code here or in description box to get 3,000 tickets and 10 of each power-up. Thank you, Bingo Showdown, for sponsoring a portion of today's video. The first one I absolutely adored and fell in love with is this one from Pinterest over here, and it looks like a canvas just full of playful movements and colors, and I knew exactly what this was the second I saw it. And we can see here the picture from the front. I have to say, this just looks like a fun piece to have on your wall. Not to mention, this is $214. So I feel like this is almost becoming a buy or DIY series because we're going to be making cheaper versions of the same things. But hey, if you want to support an artist, definitely go ahead and buy it. But for this project, we're going to need a canvas, any size you want, and the magical ingredients and shapes are air dry clay. Now this is no secret because the artist does mention it, so here it is. And the good thing about this is that it's really light. And of course you'll need paint and glue. Now the first thing I notice is that the base seems like it is definitely colored. We want to make sure that our base is not going to show any kind of white background. And in this case, the artist went with a light blue. And I'm gonna go with a fluorescent blue. And as simple as this may seem, the first thing we're going to do is just basically take our paint, and we're gonna get a good nice dippy here, and we're gonna just paint our canvas. That's all we're doing. We're gonna go ahead and add some beautiful color on our canvas. This is probably going to need more than one coat. I thought this was more opaque, but I guess I'm wrong. And I didn't want just one color in order to keep this as flat as possible. I feel like the movement makes it more fun. So I ended up adding another kind of blue, a little bit of a cobalt, in order just to kind of make the background have its own life. And here is our painted canvas. I may have cobalted a little too strongly, but I think a darker color will make the front colors pop even more. So we're just gonna move that to the side, like so. And we're gonna put the cost of everything just so you have an idea of buying it versus DIYing it. The canvas cost me $7. This clay pack cost me $24. And then the paint, you can basically use ones from the dollar store, which is basically our grand total over here in Canadian. Kitty editor, if we change it to US dollars and British pounds, you can see it here on the screen. So if this works, we're actually on the roll here. Oh, and I forget, we need glue. So however much your glue is gonna cost. This for me was $7. But we're not gonna use the whole thing, so I guess $1. So let's see what comes in this clay pack. It is definitely, oh my goodness, that's a lot of clay. It comes with stencils, which we don't need, some cute little tools, and we have tiny storage baggies for whatever clay you don't use. This is really nice, this is really helpful. I absolutely love this. So let's just pull out all the colors that we have, like so. There's a lot of packaging. Oh. I hope they're actually still fresh and good. Let's just take those out. All right, so we have a bunch of these colors, and I think what I want to do is a kind of gradient, but a rainbow-esque type gradient. And so I decided to go ahead and basically organize my colors just so I have a visual of how much I have of what. And as you can see, pinks and reds and oranges are the most abundant. So I think I'm gonna go ahead with my idea and use the entire blocks in order to make a gradient going all the way to my purples. Okay, how do I do this? Give me a second. It's getting a little cluttered. My biggest fear when it comes to air dry clay is that, I almost dropped it, is that some brands, after they dry, they do crack a little bit. So we're hoping it doesn't do that. Moving everything. Give me a second. I don't think I'm going to use browns, blacks, and grays. Maybe if I do, I'll swirl them with other colors. So I think what the first thing we want to do is check out our color and see how, well, this is really packed. And see how soft this air dry clay is, because it's pretty cheap, so I'm hoping it's actually good. Wow, that is soft. I'm having a hard time getting it. Why are you so soft? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Got you. Yeah, that is soft. This actually feels really nice. My goodness. Okay, yeah, this feels really good. And if we go back to the picture, it looks like all we have to do is a lot of different kinds of carrot or snake type shapes and basically twist them around. It's gotta be abstract art. So I'm gonna still take a piece of this red and make a little ball of it just so that it's randomly somewhere on the canvas. And we have our snake of red. This looks really pretty. I'm loving this clay so far. And I'm going to start with this edge over here. We're gonna need glue. And I feel like one of the things we absolutely need to do first is put glue on the corners and edges. Oh wait, there's the cap on this. Give me a second. I have it. I am professional. So I'm gonna put some glue over here, just at least to start this spot. And I'm gonna make the air dry clay hang out over here. And now it's gonna be about how do I want this to move. So I'm just gonna put glue. I should put glue under the clay. That would probably be the smartest. All right, so we're gonna put this here, like a so, like a so. We're gonna start off pretty basic, looking good. And now I'm basically trying to see what colors work best. As always, I'm going to take different colors from the reds and just kind of try and place them a little bit of everywhere, give them different shapes, different angles, and put the glue actually under the clay as opposed to just on the canvas. Now I've been at this for about 7 minutes, and I have to say this is more relaxing than I anticipated. This is actually really fun, but I know that some of you say that you do have warm hands and that your fingerprints can get on the clay. Solution is just a little bit of water on your fingers, not too much because otherwise it's gonna make the clay crack, and just go ahead and smooth the bits that you find is a little too crackly or too many fingerprints, and just smooth it out as best as you can. And this should work. So this way you'll have less cracks and bumps and lumps. And so as you can see, I am putting slowly, piece by piece, trying to go squiggly, trying to go circles, trying to make little mushroom kind of things. And I'm also saving some of the other colors in order to put them a little bit of everywhere around the entire canvas. That way there's a little bit of cohesion, so it feels like all the colors are kind of touching other colors. And despite the fact that this is a 30-second time lapse, we're probably gonna speed it up even more. This has taken me 3.5 hours, so budget your time. But holy shrimp, look at what it is right now. It is absolutely beautiful. I'm going to be using this piece as decoration in my own home because I love dopamine decor, which looks like this. So this is going to fit perfectly with my own style. Now, ideally, we should not be touching this for another 24 hours. So let's come back in 24 hours to see how well it holds.
2 days later.
And good. Here we are 48 hours later, and it is looking super cute, really beautiful. My only concern is that it does feel a little fragile because this is foam clay. So any kind of touching or twisting will definitely break this, as I have done. But if you leave it dry entirely and then put it straight on your wall, nobody in theory should touch it. So I will report back in a month to see how well it holds on my own wall. But otherwise, definitely worth the DIY. It was very relaxing. This next one went absolutely viral on TikTok, YouTube, and even on Pinterest. And I'm sure many of you have seen it. But just so you know, we are going to be spinning our own twist to make it a little bit more weird and unique for us eccentric people. And what I'm talking about is the squeegee acrylic art. As you can see, it starts off with just some random shapes and little dollops of paint and lines. And then once you take a squeegee to it, you pull it down and you have an abstract art. But there are ways to manipulate the shape to get cats Yes, we're gonna try cats. And as you can see here, the colors are beautiful. You can really do whatever you want, because I'm always wondering, do we have to leave the paint sit for a few minutes or not? So we're going to experiment and see what works on the first canvas. And then the second canvas, we're gonna go ahead and do cats. First things first, we are going to be using acrylic paint. Now, this is not anything fancy. This is $4 paint. Got it from the dollar store. And I wanted to get something a little thicker as opposed to something too watery. So we're going to be using these. And I think the canvas that works best is going to be these flat ones, because we're going to be scraping. So we want to make sure that this stays as firm as possible. And last but not least, a piece of paper under the canvas. Because we're going to be doing a squeegee, it's going to pull all the extra paint down to the bottom. So we want to make sure that there's something to catch it so we can throw it away. Or if you want to paint with it, that's cool too. And going with the same idea that I do love rainbow-esque colors, we're going to have reds, oranges, pinks, yellows. We're going to go with a lighter green, lighter blue. Does this set even have purple? There's violet. Something like this. And I think black and white is going to be pretty neat too. One of my biggest concerns if the colors are going to get muddy or anything like that. So let's start from here and do some dollops. How much is too much is a good question. The answer is I don't know. Let's do some red. Let's move along with some orange, maybe a huge line like this. I don't know. How far are we supposed to go? Hang on. Let's look at the canvas that people are using. And it looks like they're putting dollops almost about halfway or all the way down. Let's add some pink here with our red, because why not? I don't know what I'm doing. At this point, it's supposed to be abstract, I guess free flowing. We'll get some of the yellows. Oh, okay. Yellow does not want to make a straight line. We have yellow. Yellow. Let's go with green opposite way. Maybe a couple of dots of green here. What am I doing? And you know what? Let's go ahead and make the blue extra. We're gonna make, oh gosh, extra blue. Is this okay? This is all practice. It's all part of my master plan. I know exactly what I'm doing. Now we have our purple, so we're gonna space that out a little bit more here, and in between our blue, and a little bit there too. I really don't know what to expect at this point. I'm just trusting the process of making it happen. Now I do love purples and yellows, so let's try and get some yellows, maybe some like that. And I feel like we just don't have enough greens, so we're gonna do some zigzag with green, like so. And now we're just gonna go ahead and add some white and black just to kind of see if we can add that color contrast in there. And I went ahead and filled the gaps with other colors, just so, I don't know if less is more or more is more. All right, now I have the squeegee. Obviously we have to keep our hand here, and we just have to pull. Apparently you're not supposed to push, you're not supposed to push too hard. So let's see what happens. Ooh, that is pretty. Oh my goodness. And we just kind of swipe it down there. That is pretty. I don't know if I didn't press hard enough. We can definitely see where the dollops went. And you can see all the extra paint over here. This is really cool. I do like this. And I think a really good quality paint is going to make an even more beautiful painting. But I'm really loving this. This is actually pretty cute. I feel like I'm actually going to use this. Oh my goodness. All right, with that said, let's make some cats. Now, when it comes to the cat idea, this is definitely not mine. Again, I found this on Pinterest and then found the blog by association. And it is a blog by Debbie. And just look how cute these are. Obviously, we're going to need the same paints. And the only thing that's different is we're actually going to need a marker in order to make the cat's faces. Oh, and don't forget the popsicle stick, because we need to actually shape it like a cat, kind of. Not really. It's almost like a W. So I think I want to go with a pink cat first. And the idea is we're supposed to make a huge dollop, like so. And then we're supposed to take our popsicle stick and make a kind of upper shape like this. Now, I don't know if that's enough paint. I feel like I should have probably practiced, because I don't feel like this is enough. So we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this. And that technically is it. I don't know why I feel like it's not enough. You know what? We're just gonna go for it. We're gonna squeeze a little harder this time. Oh, I don't have my paper under here. Hang on. There we go. Here it is. Let's see. Oh, that is pale. That is really pale. This pink is not pinkin'. I think we're gonna have to redo it. Let's try the red. So I'm gonna put red right here. At least the good news is that the shape does work. And we're gonna spread that red in the same way, like so. There. All right, let's give this a second try. So we're gonna go ahead and pull. I'm gonna try and squeeze a little less. That is definitely better. Yes. way better. Paint quality is gonna matter here. And now I want a blue kitty cat, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a dark blue here, like so. And we're gonna do this one a little shorter. So I lost my popsicle stick for some reason, so I'm just gonna use the tool that came with our clay. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this. Voila. At least I can't lose the fluorescent pink, right? I say that, but I'm probably gonna lose it. I hope this one's dry, but okay. Let's go ahead and pull. Yes, kitty! Oh, we have little jagged lines, but that's okay. That's personality. That's not enough. Oh gosh, I kind of want to go through it again. You know what? Let's just trust it. It's abstract. It's okay. It's okay. Moral of the story, try to press evenly. I'm gonna do another one. This time it's green and we're gonna go much higher. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna do this. I don't know if that's too much. I don't know. You know what? We didn't have enough here. I'm gonna stick to it. The case of just let it happen. Just let it happen. Okay, here we go. And pull. Yes, even pull, Jackie. Even pull. Yes! Looking cute. And I decided to do the rest of the canvas, so we had space for 2 more kitty cats, and I went with these colors here. I'm not usually a perfectionist, but now that I got all the other ones all the way down, I kind of want to fill this blank over here, so I'm just kind of dry brushing with the paint just a little bit, because I really don't want this empty spot. It's kind of bothering me, so I'm just gonna dry brush a little bit and see if I can get those edges a little cleaner. Let's kind of do this, if I may. Oh, that did not keep it clean. There you go. There. I'm feeling less annoyed now. Because look how cute this is. Now we're going to go ahead and take our marker. And the only thing we really need to do is make sure we have little eyes, a triangle for the nose, the little mouth, whiskers, and different ways that we can do the ears. And here are the goofy kitty cats. I think they're absolutely adorable. And there's something about the squeegee technique on the hard canvas that kind of makes it look a little bit more like textile as opposed to a painting. But I'm here for it. It's quirky, it's cute, it was done in under 10 minutes, and I am probably gonna use it too in my own home decor. But let's move on to actual pieces that you can decorate other places of your home, not just the wall. This one found me on Pinterest, and it is the goldfish magnets. Now, for those of you who don't know, goldfish is a really popular cracker here in North America. Let me know if you have this in your country. And if you do have them, what is your favorite flavor? So essentially, it's basically turning a cracker into a magnet. And that's actually not as hard as you may think. All we need is polymer clay and magnets. And when I click on the link, this is on Etsy, and it is selling for about $14.49 for 6 magnets. And it comes in the most adorable packaging ever. And of course, as always, if you want to support the artists, I will leave the links down below. Now, I did pay $30 for 46 colors, which means each color is, kitty editor, go ahead and take yourself out with the calculator. And each color of polymer clay is, and with each block, we can definitely make 5. So let's do that. Oh, and the magnets I was able to get from the dollar store. And I'm pretty sure in the colors, oh my goodness, this comes more than just with the clay. We have a bunch of glitter. We have some clay fruits, tiny. Is that a little wooden, what? Okay, we have mini wooden planks. It comes with a string to turn them into charms, rolling pin, and tools. Okay, this is actually a better deal than I thought. A picture holder if you want to make a picture holder. You know what? I might do that in a future video. I'll find a weird one. And some beads and findings. Pretty neat. All right, and here is what we're here for. It seems to come also with a bit of a guide, but the color we're after is this one specifically. And if we look here, it's pretty similar. I might add a little bit of the white just to kind of make it a little less saturated, but it's pretty close. Now, I haven't used this specific brand of clay before, and the trick is to hope that it is not sticky. We don't like no sticky clay. It is not sticky. And the next test is to see how soft it is. It is a good softness. That makes it easier to work with. And first things first is we're going to basically mix the white with the yellow. I'm kind of eyeballing it, and if we need to change and add more of the white, then we could do that, but that's all I'm doing. And here's how easy it is to make this little goldfish. First, we're going to start with a little ball, and then we're going to lightly pinch the front to make the little face. Voila. This is all in real time, so you can see exactly how easy it is to make it. And then we're going to pinch the back part just a little bit, like so. Now take your fingers in the back part, put it like this, and you're going to roll the clay between your fingers until you make a back division that looks like this. So far, so good. At any given moment, you might need to pinch the face a little bit more again. Now with that division, you're going to start pinching back and forth until you get a tail division. And you're gonna do that again on the other side. Keep pinching back and forth, and we have our basic fish shape. Now, since this is going to be a magnet, you do want to flatten it just a little bit so that the magnet has somewhere to actually sit on. And let's pinch the front just a little bit again. Voila. You can use any tool that you have, whether it's a toothpick. I'm just using a dotting tool, and I'm going to make the little eye and now the shape for the mouth. And basically just follow a reference picture of any cracker that you like. And here are our cute little fishies. I did go ahead and make 6 of them. At this point, you are basically done, but if you want to level it up, here's what you could do. You can take some rubbing alcohol and take a paintbrush or a Q-tip and brush it on top of the little fish. That's going to remove any kind of dust particles or fingerprints. And if you want to level it up even more, you could use chalk pastels. You're going to scrape a little bit off and dust it on top, and that's just going to give it a little bit of extra color. Now let's go ahead and shove it in the oven for half an hour at 275 degrees Fahrenheit. Once they're out, we're just going to take our little magnets and make sure you have the right side of the magnet that's going to stick on the back of the fish. And we're just going to go ahead and glue them and let them sit for a few minutes. And here are our little goldfish. They look super cute and they work absolutely wonderfully as a magnet decoration. And of course, if you want to put them in a cute little baggie like this one here, it's just so cute. Oh my goodness, that just adds a little bit more to the flair. Continuing on with food items, we have a lollipop ring holder. This is way easier than many people might think. And you guessed it, we're going to be using polymer clay again. The great thing about polymer clay compared to air dry clay is that it will not harden until you actually bake it. And I'm going to show you how to make 2 different kinds of lollipops. We have the circle, just round one like we have on here, and then the super swirly rainbow one. So make sure you stay tuned for that one because that one's really fun to make. And I do recommend you start immediately on a piece of parchment paper so that your piece doesn't get distorted. And so the first thing we're going to do is take some popsicle sticks in order to get our flat little spillage going. And this kit came with its own roller, but I'm just going to use mine. They're exactly the same. And we're going to roll this in basically the same thickness because the popsicle sticks will just stop us because it's gonna be even. Now we're going to take a beautiful cut. And cut any kind of swirly, splatter-like shape and smooth the edges with your fingers. Smoothing the edges will just make it look a little bit more natural and flat as much as possible. Now we're going to take that piece and move it directly on the tray that we're going to be baking it on because we don't want any more distortions as of now, so flatten it as much as you can. And now we're going to take the remainder of the same color, basically make a ball of clay, and then flatten another piece and put it all the way around. That's going to be the lollipop bulge, I guess.
Bombastic side eye.
Now, if you want to make sure that the pieces are secure, feel free to use a piece of dowel or stick. Again, I got these from the dollar store. You can use a toothpick as well, and then put the 2 pieces together. You could also use something like Clear Bond Cosclay or even Liquid Sculpey, which is basically a clay adhesive. Once those 2 pieces are together, find a thicker dowel, also from the dollar store, shove it in there, and now we're going to bake it. While that's baking, let's go ahead and make the swirly type that we absolutely adore. Now, for the rainbow lollipop, we're going to be needing our white clay and tiny pieces of the rainbow colors. You're really not going to need much. This might actually be too much. And what we're going to do is make a sausage with the white clay, and then we're going to roll each one of the colored clay in a really thin snake, and then place them in any order you want. And in my case, we are going rainbow-esque. Now that we have our colorful snake of clay,
little snake of clay underneath.
We're going to go ahead and roll this piece. You want to roll it as thin as you can so that the colors kind of get together. Oh, we are losing a lot of white. Should have made it even thinner. That's my fault. That was just gonna be rainbow. Lesson learned, go thinner. And just keep rolling from the middle to the outside until you have the proper length. Now I'm just going to take my cutter and cut about half of it for the actual lollipop itself, like so, and the other half for the drizzle part. And for the lollipop, we're just going to make 2 ends that are kind of pointy, like little carrots, like so, and start twisting your piece so that it has those cute swirls, so that it's not just straight lines. Just keep twisting, twisting. Yes, that is super cute. My goodness, adorable. Don't get cuter than that, except for you. Repeat after me. I am cuter than a lollipop. And it looks very cute here. And this part is pretty straightforward. You're going to start rolling your lollipop onto itself. It just needs to have a good swirl and a very decent thickness, so you're just going to make sure you go all the way. Ta-da! Now for the drizzle, we're going to take basically the other half, twist it, and then this part's going to hurt. Just go ahead and smush it like this. And now we're just going to make it into a ball. So just turn it around. I know, don't worry, we're not gonna lose the colors. Keep swirling it into a ball. Voila. Back to the toothpicks. And we're going to basically do the exact same thing as we did with the rounded lollipop. That way we get an evenness of colors and it still looks a little bit more natural and melty. And now we're going to go ahead and put that in the oven. And here are both lollipops out of the oven. I have to say one of the things I noticed about this clay is that it is pretty soft, so it tends to kind of melt even more, which is not ideal generally speaking, but at least in the case of the rounded lollipop, the pink one, it looks even more melted, so I guess it works. But otherwise, keeping its shape might be a little bit more difficult. As some of you may know, crafting does take a toll on my physical health, which means between the first part of this video and the next part, it's been 2 weeks. Back to our regular programming. The next project, yet again, food themed. This one I'm actually pretty excited about because it seems pretty simple. And the idea is that we're turning a Lazy Susan into a giant Oreo. So you can put things and just spin it around, but instead of it being plain, it looks delicious. And this project comes to us from a TikTok from Grace of Spades. My only issue with this is that it seems time consuming, especially this creator definitely went the extra mile and did the whole thing by hand, including the tiny details and all the markings. And they did make it so that the cream is on the inside, but for me, I think by using a Lazy Susan like this one, it actually is going to look like a double stuffed Oreo, as you can see right here. By the way, let me know in the comments, what is your favorite Oreo flavor? In Canada, we don't get that many, but I'm gonna say I'm pretty classic, and the double stuff is my stuff. Again, just because physically for me, standing on top of a counter doing this is just gonna destroy me. And I know many of you grains are like me, so here are a couple of shortcuts. Number 1, just print it on cardstock. Option number 2, for those of you who have a 3D printer, I asked my brother to 3D print this for me, especially because he has been super obsessed with his new Bamboo Lab printer. Not sponsored, not affiliated. Just a few seconds of geeking out over the Bamboo Labs printer is that it is one of the first companies to actually offer multicolor printing for home use. And it can go up to 16 colors. As you can see, we do have the Bulbasaur, but we were only able to print the 4 different colors because that's the one we currently have. And if you're using the filaments that they have on their website, it auto detects the color you're actually using. So it makes printing way more convenient. And the printing is really fast, and the bed is auto leveling, which is a huge thing for those of you who love 3D printing. And if you have a busy schedule, you can actually send your prints through your phone. How convenient is that? Trust me, my brother is just geeking it over this, and he's telling me all these cool things. I'm like, oh, that's amazing, especially for us artists that want to kind of dabble into 3D printing. This makes it so easy and so user-friendly, and they have different machines also for different budgets. This again is not sponsored, not affiliated. This is just pure geeking out because I know many of you grains love to dabble in different art styles, and I think 3D printing is just the new one. But before we do any of that, let's go ahead and paint these 2 parts in white. Of course, you can use an acrylic paint that is okay for plastic, or in my case, because I want to go a little quicker because I like projects that don't take too long, I'm using a spray paint. And so this part is pretty self-explanatory. I took my spray paint, took it outside, and made sure to only cover these sides, since we're going to be gluing the top. Now that our base is fully done, it's so simple. If you printed an Oreo, go ahead and cut it out, so let's do it. And here it is cut out. And now all I did is take a piece of wood. You can find these little platforms, usually at the dollar store in the craft sections. I used to do a lot of sculpting on these, and I just painted the edges in black. And now you're basically going to glue this on top. Now it is quite shiny, and we're going to be using Mod Podge at the bottom and the top in order to get this stuck right on here. You could use different kinds of glue as long as it doesn't get the paper too wet. That's why Mod Podge is great for that. And then once that's done, which is not what I'm going to do, you're going to take your glue gun, put it on your surface, and then you have your Oreo Lazy Susan. But that's not the way I'm personally going to go, because I do love technology. And whenever technology can meet art, this is what I want to do. So yeah, I'm basically just putting the glue gun on top. Make sure it's the glue gun that actually has a lot of heat and stickiness to it. Or you can also use an epoxy type glue. And I'm just making sure I'm putting it on both sides and giving it a good push. We have our first piece of Oreo over here, and we're going to glue the second one right under it. So we really are getting, look how cute this is. Oh my God. Don't tell me this does not look like a real double stuffed Oreo. Look at this. Oh my goodness. And you can put your stuff on there. You can put your glue. You can put your phone. It's just perfect. And of course you can print bigger if you want it to be bigger. And here is our Oreo Lazy Susan. Holy shrimp, that is absolutely adorable and probably one of the easiest projects to do. I have to say, if you are into really crafting some unique pieces that require a lot of detail, I'm starting to integrate more 3D printing and I find it really fun. May not be accessible, that's why there are different options if you don't have one. And now this next one involves bringing the nerd back into Nerdy Crafter. And I have to say, I am extremely excited for this one because I've been really wanting to do it for the longest time ever. And it is, as you can see, a Pokemon terrarium. Basically, we're going to be making a really cute looking flowery environment for tiny Pokemon. And if you're not into Pokemon, you can collect Hello Kitty figurines or any kind of tiny figurines and just give them a place to kind of hang out and sit. And they make excellent wall decor. And as we can see here by the Viridian Realm, the pieces of floral and sticks and little diamonds are sticking out of all the different little spots. And I want to take this just a little bit further and start adding even a resin river. And so of course I got a Game Boy shell. Now I did find these from AliExpress and each one was approximately $8. So let's pull this out. We have all the pieces that you can technically create or make fake ROMs and all that stuff with your own Game Boy. But we're not going to do any of this because this is actually a working piece with the controllers, all the little bits and pieces. That's not where we're going, okay? I'm just gonna move this over here. And from the dollar store, I have all these cute and colorful flowers. So we do have little plastic bits that you can easily find at any of your local dollar spaces. And even at the thrift store, I was able to find things like this. Equally, you can also go outside and find some nice natural rocks or some cute and colorful ones from your craft store. There's so many options here, okay? I'm just showing you everything that I have. And if you're lucky like me and have a brother that's obsessed with 3D printing, or any sibling, you can ask them to print you some extra floral foliage things, fake color shifting crystals. And in my case, I'm not gonna go ahead and buy a Pokemon, especially if I have a 3D printer from Bamboo Labs that makes colored pieces. I'm talking your piece has different colors because they are one of the first out there that have different spools that actually color your pieces. So I don't got to change the spools myself. It does it. It prints in color. So we're gonna use our baby Bulbasaur. All right, so the first thing I want to do, because if we look at the picture again from the Viridian creator, we can see that they did leave this screen part on. So we're going to have to glue this on, but we have to remove this screen off. So I am taking my sharp pointy thing, as you can see right here, and just basically trying to cut around that area as closely as I can. I'm hoping it's not gonna crack. I have to say I did struggle with my sharp pointy thing, so my brother did come in with a Dremel to help me cut it up. And I'm just gonna add some glue in the points of interest, like so. And we're gonna shove it like so. Yes, now we're getting that classic Game Boy look. Don't worry about the edges so much. We're gonna really put a lot of things and hide all the defects. And I really want this to be the most terrarium we can ever do. And I do have a little bit of a grassy patch here for miniatures. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this and put it in the background of the Game Boy, just so that we really have as much of the environment in the back covered as possible. And then we're gonna go ahead and put our little figurine exactly where we wanted. I kind of was trying to see what angle I wanted my Bulbasaur to feel. I didn't want it to look straightforward, so I gave it a little bit of a tilt to the side. And now it really all is about creativity and where you want things. Now be very careful with working with hot glue because I have given myself second-degree burns with them. And it's about looking and experimenting and seeing where you like things. And of course, if you want to hide that cut and the defects, just take those flowers and put them around, kind of like a bit of a frame. And then for the buttons, just go ahead and shove those tiny flowers that you pluck away from the actual flower itself, the stem, and shove them into as many little holes as you can. And of course, add those little rocks, sand, and all of that stuff. And here it is so far. I absolutely adore it. I did add a few little gems and rocks, a little bit of everywhere to try and get every little nook and cranny. And of course, we got the little buttons. However, there's one spot we haven't touched yet, and it's the back. I feel like we can add some longer stems there. So I plucked these out, and I feel like we could just shove them in the back, obviously with some glue, and it's going to give us a bit of that 3D effect of something happening in the back. So I just went ahead and took the longer pieces that I plucked out and glued them in the back in the same way that I did the front. It really is starting to look really cute. I am tempted to do this on a live stream with you, Grains, so if you do want to join us for live streams, make sure that you click on all notifications so you can join us on Sundays during live streams. I think I'll make one also and give it away, so keep an eye for that. But this is going full experimental because now we're going to play with the territory of UV resin. For those of you who don't know UV resin, it's a liquid when hardened with sunlight or UV light, turns into a glassy type plastic that kind of looks like water. And in this case, I'm basically mixing it with some colorant to give us a water effect, because I want to make a river type flow that's going in between the two main buttons. And now I'm going to harden it with the UV light. And adding the water by itself does feel a little empty, so I think what we're gonna do is add these mini rocks around the entire border. I am using the resin in order to basically use it as a glue because, I mean, it's already there. And we're just creating this little pond border around the water. Oh my god, how adorable is this? Just look at all the tiny details. This was actually very relaxing, very therapeutic, and I feel like all these pieces and even the figurines, you could probably find some of these at your dollar store, except for the Game Boy case, which you do have to buy somewhere else. But this project was really fun, relaxing. It looks absolutely phenomenal. I do want to make more. Just be sure to go online and type Pokemon Game Boy Terrarium, and you're gonna be very inspired. A reminder that a portion of today's video is sponsored by Bingo Showdown, so make sure you click on the link in description or scan the QR code for 3,000 tickets and 10 of each power-up. Don't forget to check out Chloe Rose Art's channel and the TikTok/Pinterest type hacks for artsy craftsy things. Watching her is always an adventure. I will link her down below as usual and pinned comment. And so here are all the decors for weirdos like you and me. Let me know which one of these is your favorite and which one do you plan on doing soon enough. If you want to watch more weird DIYs for weird people, make sure you check up here. If you want to catch something a little bit more unboxing, make sure you check down here. Until then, I will see you, Grains, in the next video. This next one is actually going to be much quicker and is extremely viral. Let's try that again.